Hey guys, Fireclaw here, and today we're going to be taking a look at how to make this signature. So as you guys can see, this is a really simple signature. It's just a stock, a rain effect background, and some nice lighting going on in there. So let's get right into it. Okay, so to start off with this signature, first you want to create a new document. Alright, and we're going to start off with what I call the default signature size, which is 500 pixels by 200 pixels, and with your standard resolution of 72 pixels per inch. I say this is default because it's pretty much the signature size that will fit on most forums, and I see it the most often. It'll fit practically everywhere, and I think it looks nice, so it's what I like to work with. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is fill your background layer with black. And the reason we do this is just because it's so much easier to see transparent pixels on your render and other things like that when the background is black. Okay, so I'm going to include in the description a resource pack that should have all these resources in there for you to download. Alright, so don't worry, I got you guys covered. You can just download these, extract them from the RAR file, and you should be good to go. I won't be giving away the PSD, but you should have all the resources you need. There's only three, there's two stocks, a smoke stock, a background, and there's just the render. So yeah. Alright, so let's drag in this background stock over here, and just put that on top, and we'll also drag in our render while we're at it. And then we can just minimize that. Alright, so let's start off by hiding our render there, and hit Control T for free transform, and now we're going to set this background up, and so we're just going to make it a little bit bigger and make it so that it fits on the canvas nicely. And alright, so when you put your render on here, you can see that we actually have light on this side because of the flame, and we have more light on this side on the background. So we're just gonna hit Control T again, right click, and we're gonna click flip horizontal, and now this should flip the sides. Now the reason we did this is because we really want to keep in mind the lighting of the render and how we're going to set up our signature. So we have the flame on the left hand side of our signature, and the stock background has a lighter side and a darker side, and we want them to match up properly. So yeah, and I think I'm going to move this a little bit. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, and I move it there. Okay, so now we have our stock and we have our render on top, and so next I'm just going to get rid of this watermark there because we don't need that. Whoops, I meant 100 here. So just going to get rid of that. Oh boy, I think I deleted some of the render. Alright, so now we have this, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get some adjustment layers going on in here, because right now this background and this render, they're not matching really well together. So we're going to add some adjustment layers to the background. So go down here and let's add some levels. Ooh, never mind. Let's add some curves. I like the curves UI better. It does pretty much the same thing as levels, but I like the line graph better. Alright, so now we're going to make the rest of the background darker. We're just going to drag down the whites, drag down the blacks. We just want the whole overall atmosphere on this signature to be kind of dark, because we want to have that survival theme going on there, and we want the light in the signature to be coming from the flame here. We don't want to have all of the other stuff be bright and sunshiny, because if we darken the rest of it, that'll and only lighten one part, that draws your focus and attention to the part where the light is coming from, which in this case is the flame on the tip of her arrow, and that's going to light up the rest of her face. Alright, so now we're going to move on to the render. Alright, that curves layer just put that right above the stock and the background stock, and we're good for now. So now we're going to hit Control T on the render, and we're going to free transform it. We're going to move it over a little bit because we want to be following our rule of thirds, right? And we're going to make this a little bit smaller, just a hair. Yeah, that seems good. Okay, I like that. Alright, so now we've got our render placed in alignment with the rule of thirds, as you guys can see. Well, not really, actually. Move it over just a little bit more, because we really want her face to be on that rule of thirds, on that intersection right there. So we have a proper focal in here. Alright, so I'm gonna hide my grid, and so now, this is great and all, but as you guys can see, the lighting doesn't match, because we have this light coming over here, right here, from the fire, right, and this is lighting up the left side of Laura's face, but we also have this weird kind of highlight thing going on behind her, because wherever this render was taken from, there was light behind her as well. She might have been, like, going into a cave or something, so... But we don't want that, because the rest of our background it's not bright, it's dark. So we need to get rid of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new layer on top of the render. We're going to right click it, we're going to click create clipping mask. Now what this is going to do is it only allows us to draw inside the render, and we can't actually draw anywhere else. So it kind of makes an outline, like a selection of the render, and now we can only draw in that selected area. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a 0% hardness brush, about 30 pixels, yeah, 30 pixels, and we're going to have it black. And so what we're going to do with this black brush is we're just going to go, we're just going to go, around the outsides here where these highlights are and where we want to get rid of these highlights. So, just brush on some darkness here, just to fix the colors on Lara, because don't want the rest of her face to be too bright in comparison, because we really want to draw focus to that left side with the fire, and we don't want anything else to detract from that. Alright, and now we're just going to lower the opacity down. I'm thinking around 60% or so. Seems about right. Maybe even a little more than that, 70. Alright, that looks good. So now we've kind of fixed that lighting problem that we had with Lara. And, so now we need to worry about, well, what about this fire? This fire, it's okay, but it looks kind of out of place because, it's affecting Lara. As you can see, it's affecting the render, but it's not affecting the background in any way. And so we're going to fix that. I'm just going to make a new layer. We're going to call this layer lighting. Alright, and now we're going to take a big soft brush again. I say 300 pixels. 300 pixel brush. Yeah, that seems about right. And now we're going to take this brush and we're going to pick a color from the flame. So you can pick any color. I'm going to pick an orange, nice, like a deep orange like that. Alright, and now you're just going to take this brush and you're going to click once right on top of the render, like right in the middle. Bam, right there. And you can always hit Control T and move it over a little bit if you want. I'm going to move mine just to be on top of the fire over there. Alright. So there you go, that's your light. And now that looks terrible, obviously. So we're going to change the blending mode of this to, not to lighten, to screen. Alright. So now, as you guys can see, the lighting is affecting the background. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go over here and we're going to lower the opacity a bit, maybe around 50%. So now, here it is without the lighting, and here it is with the lighting. As you can see, the lighting really helps to portray that atmosphere, and it really helps to make it look like it's all one picture and it all flows together really nicely. Alright, so next up, we want to have that cool rain effect that I had going on there in the background. So, to do that, it's really simple, actually. Or actually, before we do the rain effect, I forgot about the vignette. Okay, so one more thing, to increase the focal of the render here, we're going to create a new layer, and it doesn't really matter what to call this one. Again, a big soft brush, same size is fine, 300 pixels, 0% hardness. And we're just going to take this brush and we're going to brush a little vignette around the edges of our signature here. We're just going to darken the edges a little bit, to increase that focal, and just so you know, now we really have all of our attention drawn to Lara, and the background is not detracting from that in any way. So, I'll show you guys just for comparison. Here's without the vignette and with the vignette. As you can see, it really increases that attention to the middle of the signature where we want our people to be looking. When you open your eyes and you first see, when you first see the signature, what is the first thing that your eyes are drawn to? And that's what we always want to keep in mind, that when someone first sees it, what are they first going to have their eyes drawn to? And for us, we want that to be the fire and Lara's face and that whole kind of thing going on right there. Alright, so now we're going to create this this nifty little rain effect in the background. So there's two parts to this rain effect. One of them is, I'm going to show you how to do it right now, and it's some filters that you apply to the background, and then the other part is a brush. So for that, we're going to have to create our own custom brush, rain brush, and we're just going to have to brush that on top. So this is kind of like a 2-in-1 tutorial, because I'm going to show you how to make a brush as well. Okay, so we want to go to this background layer right here. Alright, and you want to select it, and then you want to go to filter, and then you want to go to noise, or no, filter, render, and clouds. Sorry. Oh boy. Before you do that, make sure your colors are selected on black and white. And now you want to render some clouds. On top of this layer. Sorry, I was mistaken there. You have to create a new layer before you render your clouds. So now, make sure you have black and white. Make sure you're on a new layer that is above the background layer. And now you want to render in some clouds. Okay. Ooh, I just noticed we have a random piece of Lara. That little watermark there. We want to get rid of that. Alright, there we go. Alright, so now that you have your clouds, it really doesn't matter what they look like, not important. Alright, and so now you want to go to filter, noise, and you want to add noise. Alright, so you want to add 60% noise. Okay, and you want it to be Gaussian and monochromatic. Alright, now you're just going to add that. Now you have your noise. And now on top of this noise, we're going to go to filter, blur, and we're going to add a motion blur. Now this motion blur, we're going to have a distance of 25 pixels, and the angle 70%. It really depends what you're using for your render. 70 degrees, sorry, seems to work for this render. I mean, I think it looks okay. Maybe I'll mess with that a little bit. Maybe make it a little. Really, all depends on the flow of your signature. All right, so we're gonna do 60% for the rain, for the 60 degrees. Sorry, for the motion blur. All right, so now we have this kind of rain texture thing, and we're just gonna go and we're gonna set this to vivid light. All right, so as you can see, the effect is already starting to form. It's on top of the background, and it looks like there's some really heavy rain going on back there. And actually, I might actually put this over the entire thing. So, for this layer, if you want it applied to the render, that's okay. If you want it not applied to the render, that's fine too. I think I'm going to put it all the way on the top, so it's applied to the render as well. And all you're going to do is just going to lower this opacity down. Around 55%. 55% seems to be good. Maybe even a little bit lower than that. 45% opacity, or 30 even. No, I'll do 35. Alright, so now you can see we have this subtle kind of rainy texture in the background, and that's what we want. We want the background to just sell the effect a little bit more. Alright. Let me check how we're doing on time. Okay guys, so now we are going to work on making the raindrop brush. So what I want you guys to do is press Control N, Control N, and create a new document. Alright, and so now we want this document to be 200 by 400. 72 pixels per inch, same deal, you guys know the deal. Alright, so now we have, whoops, I'm afraid I reversed these. The width is 400, height 200. I flipped those around, my bad guys. Alright, so now you have this horizontal thing. Alright, and you want to fill this with black. So if you have black selected on your palette, the keyboard shortcut for that is Alt-Delete. So just press and hold Alt and then hit Delete, and that should fill your background black. So create a new layer. Alright, select white as your color, and now you want to have a 9 pixel brush that's at 0% hardness. Alright, and now what I want you to do is just go here, and I want you to just make a dot on the left side. It doesn't matter where, just make a white dot. Oh, sorry, I have the eraser tool selected. My bad. Brush tool. Alright, 9 and 0, and you just make a white dot right there. Alright, so now what you want to do is you want to go to, with the layer that has the white dot, layer 1, with this layer selected, you go to Filter, and then I want you to go to Stylize and Wind. So now you're going to have the method set to wind, and the direction is going to be from the left. I'm just going to hit OK. And now you have this kind of wind thing. And so now we're going to repeat this step 5 times. So hit Control F on your keyboard and hit that 5 times. So Control F, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bam. There you go. Now we have this kind of, blurred out kind of dot thing. It looks kind of like you used the smudge tool and smudged it out. Alright, so after you repeat this 5 times, you want to go to Filter, Blur, and Motion Blur. Alright, so you want the motion blur angle to be set to 0, and the distance should be 25 pixels. And just hit OK. Should be good to go. Alright, and now all you have to do is just hit image, image rotation, and flip the canvas. Oh no, you don't want to flip the canvas. Rotate canvas. Ooh. Image rotation, and you want to flip this 90 degrees. Whoops, wrong way. 90 degrees counterclockwise, so you have your dot going kind of like this. Flip your entire canvas over so it's vertical. Then you want to grab the dot, Control T, free transform it, and just put it at an angle, because it's a raindrop. It's not going to be falling straight down. Just put it at an angle and hit enter, and there you go, that's your raindrop. So now we have to save this as a brush. So hit Control I on your, whoops, select both layers, hit Control, or not, guess you have to do it one at a time. Control I, invert all the colors so that it's a black on white thing, and then hit Control A so that you have the entire canvas selected. And then you want to go to Edit, and now you want to go to Define Brush Preset. And this is just going to be a brush, you can call it Rain Brush. Hit OK, and there you go, now you have a rain brush. And you can test it out too if you want. That's what it looks like. Cool. Alright, so now you can close this and you don't need to save it. You have your rain brush. It's actually already selected for you right here. Now I have 2 of them, as you can see, because I made one before. It's a different size, but you can always change that. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so now we're going to create, the rain that's in the foreground of our image. So create a new layer, call this layer rain. Alright, and you can call this one BG rain. So we know it's the background layer rain. And so now on here, you have your brush, and you're going to go over here to the side to the brush presets, or no, sorry, to the brush tab on the side here, and you're going to go to shape dynamics, and you're going to change the size jitter to 50%, minimum diameter to 100, angle jitter to 1, roundness jitter to 0, and you're going to go to scattering, and you're going to set the scattering to 1000%. And the last thing you're going to do is, this angle, it's not right, so we're just going to edit this a little bit so it's around the same angle, and we can just lower the size. We're going to start off with some kind of smaller raindrops, and then we can brush on some bigger ones. So you want to make sure that you have a white brush selected here, and I think I'll go with 85 pixels. Yeah, 85 looks about right. Okay, and now it's really simple. All you have to do is drag your mouse from one side of the signature to the other side, and it's just going to automatically brush on some raindrops for you. That looks really nice. And you can brush on some more where you think you want some more, and you can always add individual ones just by clicking once. Alright, so there you go. We have some rain, and we're just going to lower the opacity on this a whole bunch. So I'd say like 25%. Okay? And, those raindrops are actually fairly big. So, you know what? We're going to go and, yeah, we're going to make some smaller ones. Alright, so we can actually do it on the same layer. And just go here, change your size. Maybe have this to 60. And then when you go here, change your size jitter to 100. Play with the settings a little bit. Mess around, see what you guys can get. And, just add some where you think it's needed. Some small raindrops. Yeah, something like that. I like that. And I'll lower the opacity a little bit more. Yeah, I like the way that's looking. Alright, so now we're going to just add some final, some finishing touches to this signature, because it looks really good. But there's a couple things that I still don't like about it. One, I still don't really like. I still feel there's a little bit of an outline here. We really want to blend Lara in with the shadows back there. So we're just going to click on the render, and we're going to go to the burning and dodging tool. And we're going to get a smaller brush here. A 20 pixel brush. And we're going to go to the dodge tool, and oh, whoops. Sorry. We're going to go to the burn tool. There we go. 20 pixel brush. 0% hardness. And we're just going to go to these shadows here. And, we're just going to increase the blending with the background there by just darkening the edges over here. And, change the range to highlights, and we'll darken this little part of her bow here. And yeah, darken that part. Yeah. Alright, I'm liking that. Okay. So, now we're going to add one final finishing touch. So create a new layer, and we're going to go to image, and then apply image. And, just leave the settings to whatever they are. And now you've put all the layers, combined them all together, and applied your entire image, all the visible layers, and put them all into one. So now, on here, we're going to go to Filter, Blur, and we're going to apply a Gaussian blur. So do your radius to 1.5 pixels and hit OK. And now the final step is to take an eraser tool, not 9 pixels. I'm going to use a small one. Let's use 100. And take a small 100 pixel eraser tool. We're just going to erase the parts of the Gaussian blur that we don't like. You know, on her face, over here by the bow, and make a smaller one, like 50 maybe, for this part right here by the bow. Ooh, maybe we'll do something even smaller than that. Let's see, 20. Yeah, that seems about right. I'm just gonna sharpen the, or well, unblur the part where the bow is. Unblur down here. And we're just gonna overall unblur where we have Lara. And, well, that's it, guys. That's really all there is to it. You've just made that signature, so, you know, why don't we compare it here to what we've got out of the box. I don't actually like the text. Let's do it this way. Let's open this. Alright. So yeah, I think it looks pretty similar. You know, it is the same style of signature for sure, and yeah. So, one final thing I guess you could do, if you really wanted, is to add some smoke. So, drag on the smoke stock, and we're just going to set this to screen. We're going to free transform it. Zoom in a bit here. And we're just going to make it fairly small, and just put it on top of the fire. Kind of like that. Bam. There you go. And yeah, that's about it, guys. You know, you can add some text if you really want. I don't particularly like the text that I used in here. I just got a Tomb Raider font that I found online at defont.com, and I don't really like the way I placed the text and the way I did it, so I'm not going to show it in the tutorial. You know, I don't really like that too much, but yeah, here it is. This is the signature, and hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and you know, leave a like if you liked it, and yeah, because that stuff really keeps me going. You know, that's what motivates me to keep making speed arts and tutorials for you guys. And yeah, be sure that you download the resources from the link in the description. I'll have it there, down there in a MediaFire link or something like that. You can just download the RAR file. And if you have any questions, leave a comment down below, and I will try and get you guys an answer and help you out with any problems you're having. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. FireclawX out.